Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Cars Plus. Drive home in a brand new 2021 Hyundai Palisade equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain limited warranty. Call 477-7807 or visit carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on Primetime, it took the jury less than 24 hours to find federal drug defendant Mark Mayo guilty. Plus 2 bills, one for a 2-year waiver on business license fees, the other would restructure the government's debt to save money, went up for a public hearing today. And yesterday, 8 Guam Department of Education schools opened their doors to the public to serve as community learning centers.
Afternoon, good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. It was less than 24 hours for a verdict to be reached in federal drug defendant Mark Mayo's trial. This afternoon, a jury of 12 found Mayo guilty for count 1, conspiracy to distribute meth, and count 2, attempted possession of meth with intent to distribute. He was indicted in November 2019 for conspiring with others to mail in a package containing over 400 grams of meth from April 2018 to May 2018. The 3 other defendants involved, Lavilia Mendoza, Joseph Roman, and Daniel Pangilinan, have since pled guilty to the crime and entered plea agreements with the government, in which they testified during Mayo's week-long trial. His sentencing has been set for May 10th at 1:30 p.m. The serious allegations made regarding public corruption with local law enforcement agencies and the judiciary during Mark Mayo's federal drug trial caught the attention of one Guam lawmaker for a second time. It's like deja vu happening all over again as the Speaker of the 36th Guam Legislature, Therese Terlahi, is gearing up to meet with the judiciary for a second time on public corruption allegations.
The judiciary is acting as law enforcement in this matter, and the marshals were acting as law enforcement, and in that capacity, absolutely yes. I think they should be subject to oversight.
In district court, there have been allegations of warrants vacated, drug defendants given clean slates, all in exchange for monetary bribes. We first heard these accusations during former Jonya Mayor Jesse Bloss's federal extortion case, and now it returns in the spotlight in federal drug defendant Mark Mayo's trial. Speaker Terlahi held an oversight hearing with the judiciary following Bloss's arraignment that occurred back in September 2019.
At the time, of course, the Chief Justice had assured me that they had spoken with the FBI and that there was no one there under investigation, and that they had completed their own internal investigation. I think the conclusion was that either, FBI was not pursuing anything there at the judiciary because none of the people involved were still there, or I don't know the reason.
Bloss was sentenced last month on extortion charges for permitting drug trade through village mailboxes. He has a long history as a public servant in local law enforcement. Prior to becoming the mayor, he was Superior Court Marshal and a police officer. As stated in court, it was the drug ringleader Lavilia Mendoza's connection to Bloss that allowed the wiping of Mayo's warrants. Another individual named in both district court cases was Joey Terlahi, who is a former Department of Corrections deputy director. However, he resigned a day after Bloss's arraignment. He was also a marshal at the Superior Court of Guam.
Our oversight, I wanted to make sure that even if they had found nothing at that time, that these types of allegations could actually not occur, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we found was that the more discretion that is given to individual marshals, for example, as to which warrants they would pursue that day or would execute that day, that maybe that was a place where they could, just tighten their procedures on so that less discretion or more checks and balances.
According to Speaker Terlahi, the judiciary assured the legislature they would review their procedures and make necessary changes. Although another matter for review and catching the eye of the legislature are the honorable justices.
Some of these allegations make it sound like it's the judges that are in on it, right? That it's the judges that are vacating warrants, because only judges can vacate warrants, not marshals.
During the playback recording brought into evidence from the FBI interrogation on Mayo, the federal authorities pressed the defendant on further allegations, questioning which dirty customs, probation, police officers, and marshals he knew. While no names were said, the legislature is keeping a close eye on the ports, which have recently been under scrutiny. Speaker Terlahi notes that yesterday's oversight hearing with the Guam Customs and Quarantine raised similar red flags.
Customs reported zero interception of drugs at the port in the last 5 years. Zero. And so what's your conclusion from that, right? Something is wrong. It's either there are no drugs coming in through the port, or they're just not reported, or they're just not looking.
Speaker Terlahi is scheduled to meet with Chief Justice Philip Carbolito on Friday, February 12th. The judiciary has since responded to KUAM's inquiry for an interview regarding the allegations with, quote, to ensure the protection of the constitutional rights of those accused and preserve the integrity of our justice system and process. The judiciary of Guam is not able and will not comment on ongoing or pending matters before the courts, unquote. In Superior Court, murder defendant Larry Gagin pleads not guilty. He appeared with defense counsel Samuel Tecker for his arraignment hearing this afternoon. Gagin was arrested for the January 25th fatal shooting of Jared Kunchenko that occurred in Dededo. He also faces aggravated assault as a second and third degree felony with a special allegation for possession or use of a deadly weapon and the commission of a felony attached. Possession of a firearm without a valid firearms identification card as a third degree felony, and possession or ownership of an unregistered firearm as a third degree felony. In court today, he waived his rights to a speedy trial. His next hearing will occur in Judge Vern Perez's courtroom. A date has yet to be scheduled. When the governor declared a state of emergency for CPS and transferred administrative authority to the Department of Youth Affairs, they knew there would be a lot of cleaning up to do. Tyler Matsanani sat down with DYA Director Melanie Brennan and DPHSS Deputy Director Terry Uggan to find out what the situation was and how they're repairing the system.
The Department of Youth Affairs is addressing an estimation of over 600 backlogged cases that have been sitting with Child Protective Services. A couple weeks ago, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero signed an executive order declaring a state of emergency for CPS, which was under DPHSS, temporarily designating DYA as an administrative custodian. DYA Director Melanie Brennan says they've been trying to assess how serious the situation is while training staff.
The social services supervisor for CPS that is overseeing crisis and intake is currently working on the backlog along with our DYA social workers and the crisis workers and the investigation social workers that are still employed with CPS.
As DYA addresses backlogged cases, they are also in dire need of more foster parents. About 380 children are currently in some level of foster care, but there are only 41 active licensed foster homes. DPHSS Deputy Director Terry Uggan.
Now that's inclusive of things like relative placement, licensed foster homes. It's inclusive of non-licensed, non-relative placements. It's inclusive of group homes, but regardless of where exactly they're at or what that process is, we are looking at 380 children. And that in itself is such a message to all of us, not only in this business, but just that general community. And so at any given time, of course, Child Protective Services is reaching back, wanting to know if anybody's interested in becoming a licensed foster parent, that definitely they do have the children that are available. And they just need good, clean homes, loving families that are very accepting.
Uggan himself is a licensed foster parent. He shares his experience of caring for one of the island's most vulnerable populations.
I've had a number of children. I've had a homeless child before who was in need of medical care. And so we addressed the medical care off island, came back to Guam. But during the 6 months that I had this child, I was so amazed that the differences or the behaviors of a child who lives out on the street versus a child who grows up even in an abusive home.
Uggan says we need to work on breaking the vicious cycle that could eventually lead to those children growing up and treating their children in similar ways. You can watch the full interview online on the KUAM News Facebook and YouTube page. If you're interested in becoming a licensed foster parent, contact 475-2653. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matsanani.
Thank you, Tyler. 2 GDOE students have tested positive for COVID-19. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez has identified the schools the students attend as Attica Elementary and Chief Brody.
With every case, What happens, of course, is the contact tracing that has to take place, as well as disinfection at the school sites as needed. And then, working with the individuals who may be contacts to make sure that they are quarantined and cleared before they are able to return to campus.
Fernandez says that alternate scheduling has benefited them because it allows staff to directly and safely address and monitor positive cases. Because
we're not talking about any positive cases that have been continually at school, right? So what you have is, if you came to school on Thursday and you didn't come to school Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, by the time we do get a positive, we can pretty much identify what's pretty much a limited contact at the school and the individuals who might be involved.
He adds that although the alternate scheduling allows them to quickly address COVID cases, it will pose a challenge as they start to reopen for further face-to-face education. On Tuesday evening, the Joint Information Center reports that out of 420 tests performed on Monday, 9 returned positive for COVID-19. Of the new cases, 2 reported recent travel history and were identified in quarantine. To date, there have been a total of 7,673 officially reported cases of COVID-19 since March 2020. With 130 deaths, 92 cases are active, while there have been 7,451 recoveries. Currently, there are 8 people hospitalized, 3 in the ICU, and 3 people on ventilators. Guam's CAR score remains at 1.0. Additionally, a total of 35,816 people have been vaccinated to date. Of that number, 27,040 received their first dose, while 8,776 people have been fully vaccinated. A total of 15,484 of the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines remain. Also on Tuesday evening, the Vaccine and Antiviral Prioritization Policy Committee approved vaccinations for all members of the 36th Guam legislature. As critical service workers in the legislative branch and to ensure continuity of government, all 15 senators are now eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. It's no secret that GMH is in dire need of some TLC. Acting Hospital Administrator William Kando says they've been working on addressing the laundry list of issues with Guam's only public hospital. Here's more.
In a facilities assessment of the Guam Memorial Hospital carried out by the Army Corps of Engineers, they stated that the current infrastructure of the GMH facility is in an overall state of failure, and went on to list a myriad of issues with the island's only public hospital. And despite the inevitable setbacks due to the pandemic, they've been slowly chipping away at that list the best they can. Acting Hospital Administrator William Kando.
At least 50%, I would say more than that, are underway. We're progressing on those in one form or another. Some of them require a design phase, others do not. And so, of course, those that do not require a design phase, we're able to move along a little quicker.
According to Kando, some projects are a little more ambitious than others, but progress is still being made.
Relative to the roof upgrade, which not only includes the roof, but window and doors, improving all of those potential areas where water could potentially seep into the facility during a downpour or a tropical cyclone. That one is going to be going through a design phase where we're letting out the RFP soon for that, and we're going to be designing that upgrade in a way that we do it in a phased manner.
And as far as the implementation of the electronic-based health record system,
we never stopped heading towards implementation, full launching of the EHR. Our initial launch date was in May of this year. COVID has definitely had an impact on that.
With the hospital's dilapidated state, the Army Corps of Engineers assessment recommended the construction of a new hospital building, which is something not lost on Kando when it comes to shelling out the funds to keep the place running.
Relative to the main electrical distribution panel and sub-panels, we continue to have a strong relationship with GPA. Because we've decided at this point, because we're going to be building a new hospital, that it wouldn't be prudent for us to replace the panel at a cost of anywhere from $6 million or higher. So we're maintaining the existing, which means replacing those parts that we need to replace. So we're picking and choosing which projects we absolutely need to sustain ourselves for the next 5 to 7 years, and in the most cost beneficial way. And so like I said, quite a few of those projects are underway. We're not shying away from them.
For Guam's News Network, I'm Peter Santos.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
Social distancing may be the new norm, but connection will always be our tradition. Through good times and tough times, we remain connected with you. Masks may be the new fashion, but protection will always be our style. You can always count on us to protect the things that matter the most. Sanitizing may be the new routine, but caring will always be our practice. We care about your loved ones and the things you value the most. And as we welcome our new normal, one thing remains certain: we will always be here for you. We're open and ready to serve you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
We get it. Living to the fullest is tough during COVID-19. You don't need to do it alone, and everyone needs a hand right now. We are here. Feeling overwhelmed? Call 647-8833 and let's talk. Mangagihem is a project of Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center.
How do you dare? You chip away at what's been built because you can do better. How do you dare? You chase away wrongs to make room for what's right. You. How do you dare? You stand while they sit and scream when they are silent. You combine your strengths to reject their weakness. You step up, stand out, and shape a new point of view. How do you dare? This is how you dare. Introducing the all-new Elantra.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Call it a sign of the times. A pair of bills that underwent public hearings today reflects the challenges of the current economic downturn. One would allow for a 2-year waiver on business license fees. The other would restructure the government's massive debt to save money in the short term. Here's more.
The first bill heard by Vice Speaker Tina Barnes is meant to help spur business activity by waiving business license fees from October 1st of last year through September 30th of 2022. Testifying was Revenue Tax Director Daphne Shimizu, and while she offered no specific stance on the bill, she did say it would slice some $250,000 from her department's budget. She was pressed on that issue by Senator Joanne Brown.
Likely what will happen is that, and usually on a regular basis, in order for us to be able to process returns, process refunds, we've actually have to go back and request for overtime so that our team can, be able to accommodate that. So really the area that that's probably going to be hit is going to be in the areas where there's manpower involved, right?
So I guess the alternative maybe is to look at either the legislature appropriates the $250,000 difference to keep you functioning at your capacity, doesn't add on, but that's something that may need to be looked at if we're going to prioritize the services that your department provides.
The second bill, introduced by the Committee on Rules at the request of the governor, would authorize the refunding of a series of bonds backed by business privilege taxes. Budget Director Lester Carlson explains the strategy.
As a result of the current municipal bond market dynamics, GovGuam has a very attractive opportunity to refund certain outstanding BPT bonds for significant debt service savings currently estimated to achieve over $39 million in gross savings.
Carlson said the savings would be structured to be taken up front, $5 million in the current fiscal year, about $20 million next year, and $13 million in FY 2023. But Carlson says they need to act soon.
Should the execution of the BPT refunding opportunity take longer, GovGuam could lose the ability to realize any savings in the current fiscal year and be more at risk for rising interest rates to diminish savings anticipated in the following fiscal years.
The administration is seeking authorization by early March, so they have enough time to prepare a deal for the bond market as soon as May. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
The agenda is set for the first session of the new 36th Guam legislature. Among the bills to be considered, a measure by Senator Joe San Agustin to fast-track the conditional use approval process for temporary foreign labor barracks. Also a measure by Senator James Moylan to push back the second 50-cent increment of the minimum wage increase from March 1st of this year to March 1st of next year. And a bill by Senator Chris Duenas that requires legislative authorization in order for the governor to extend any public health emergency. Session is scheduled for this Friday, February 12th at 10 a.m. Throughout the course of the pandemic, the Guam Department of Education has continued to deliver students education through different avenues of learning. But many may have not been able to make it to the Zoom classes due to the lack of tech devices and internet access. Now that's no longer an issue. Tyler Matanani has more on the opening of Guam's first community learning centers.
No internet access, no tech device, no problem. On Tuesday, 8 GDOE schools officially opened their doors to the public to serve as community learning centers. We went to CL Taitano, where half of the cafeteria has been transformed to accommodate for a CLC. GDOE Superintendent John Fernandez.
At every one of our community learning centers, what we were looking for was space that would enable us to maintain a safe environment for our students and our employees. And so whether we're using cafeterias or library spaces, we'll be able to really maintain the physical distancing for students who come in. We have mobile carts, laptop carts, which have about 30 laptops per cart that'll be dedicated to serving the community learning centers. And if we need more, of course, we know we have technology that's coming in funded by our federal funds that'll help us with that effort.
The CLCs are open to all public and private schools on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays from 3:30 to 7 p.m. The 8 CLC sites are Astumbo Elementary, CL Taitano, JQ San Miguel, Machinao, Price Elementary, Talafofo Elementary, Upi Elementary, and George Washington High. Students under 14 years of age must be accompanied by an adult. Down the road, there will be an additional 21 more schools, meaning 21 more community learning centers across the island, allowing GDOE to further provide opportunity and support to those that have had challenges with access to technology. Through a bid, GDOE is also working to provide home Wi-Fi internet access to families. The due date for vendors to submit their proposals is February 22nd.
So that'll enable more of our students then to really be able to take advantage of the online model of learning. Even if we get back to face-to-face, we do believe that online learning will continue, and we'll figure out exactly how it will continue, but we certainly don't want access to be a problem.
Fernandez says that at the end of the day, what the department hopes to see is an island-wide network of community learning centers to support the students and families of Guam. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Tyler Matanani.
History is in the making on Capitol Hill as the second impeachment trial of the former President Trump kicks off in the Senate. The former president was charged with inciting the January 6th Capitol assault that resulted in the deaths of 5 people, including a Capitol police officer. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill as senators first consider the constitutionality of the trial.
In the same chamber that was stormed by a mob of rioters on January 6th, senators who were then eyewitnesses are now jurors in the historic second impeachment trial of former President Trump, accused of inciting the insurrection.
The resolution is agreed to.
First, the Senate approved a resolution setting the rules. Then debate began over whether the proceedings are constitutional.
They hated the results of the 2016 election and want to use this impeachment process to further their political agenda.
Mr. Trump's attorneys argue the Senate lacks the authority to try a president who's no longer in office, while impeachment managers, led by constitutional scholar Jamie Raskin, say that argument has been rejected by legal experts across the political spectrum.
This cannot be the future of America. We cannot have presidents inciting and mobilizing mob violence against our government.
A simple majority of senators ultimately voted that the proceedings are constitutional, setting the stage for the rest of the trial.
Starting Wednesday, which is exactly 5 weeks since the deadly Capitol riot, both sides will each have 16 hours over 2 days to present their cases.
Senior aides to the House impeachment manager said Tuesday they plan to present evidence nobody has seen before.
President Trump is singularly and directly responsible for inciting the assault on the Capitol.
We have counter arguments to everything that they raised.
It's still unclear whether witnesses may be called, but the former president is not expected to appear. His attorneys rejected that request, calling it a public relations stunt. As the trial continues inside the Capitol, outside, the National Guard and Capitol Police remain on high security alert. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Thank you, Natalie. And coming up, regional headlines from Saipan. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
So long, nacho fries.
Whenever Taco Bell takes them off the menu, he can't escape the cravings. Nacho fries.
Escape your cravings with our nacho fries box. Run to Taco Bell.
For the different beats of your life, we're here to keep you connected the way you want it. Plans made for you, by you. Build your own bundle with Link. Select the internet, entertainment, mobile, and home phone plans that fit your lifestyle. Pay for what you want, not for what you don't. Build your own bundle and save with Link.
Guam is truly a majestic place with its sheer natural beauty, wealth of beaches, and culturally rich landscape. Unfortunately, Guam has a real problem with unwanted invasive species. Help us in preventing their introduction and spread. The coconut rhinoceros beetle, the little fire ant, the African snail, Siam weed. These are just a few of the numerous invasives on Guam. Follow proper custom procedures when bringing plants and animals into Guam.
Help protect Guam. Tell your family and friends about invasive species.
To report invasive species, call 475-PEST.
Welcome back with regional headlines. Here's KSPN 2 News.
Hafa Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI.
Today in the courtroom of Associate Judge Joseph Camacho, 49-year-old Eduardo Fabia was released to his wife as a third-party custodian. Judge Camacho kept bail at $100,000, but allowed the wife to post $1,000 for Fabia's release. According to court documents, on February 1st, at the red light in Puerto Rico, two drivers in a garbage truck for the company Artman was heading south to their office on Middle Road. A Honda Ridgeline with a driver and two passengers in the bed of the pickup truck was in the turn lane at the light waiting for the green signal. When the pickup truck made the turn toward Peace Park, the blue garbage truck smashed into the side of the Honda Ridgeline. The driver and one passenger of the pickup truck sustained injuries, while the other passenger died. The driver and passenger of the garbage truck had no injuries and told officers they had the green light. But surveillance cameras of the MH1 and MH2 buildings showed the Honda Ridgeline pickup truck had a green light when the blue garbage truck struck the vehicle. Documents state 3 eyewitnesses also gave statements that the driver of the garbage truck failed to stop at the red traffic signal light in Puerto Rico. Superior Court Judge Teresa Kim Tenorio issued a warrant for Fabia and set bail at $100,000 over the weekend. During the bail modification today, Judge Camacho stated Fabia may return to his job at Artman, but may not drive one of the dump trucks. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for February 17th and an arraignment on February 25th. It's the home numbering system, a project that gives every house or establishment on the island a number.
Right now we're in the village of Dandan, working our way to San Vicente. We finished Gobler, San Antonio, Telencanoa, Susupi. So we're in Dandan, and then once we finish San Vicente, we need to go back again and check those houses that we miss, people are not home, so we have to give them the numbers and all that.
Although the process is moving pretty smooth, he says there are a few obstacles.
We're running around some kind of problem also in the villages, because some properties are subdivided and it's not recorded, so we have to go back again to the drawing board and make sure that we correct those things.
Each house or establishment receives a letter with their number and street name on it.
Something like this, like a letter, This is San Antonio Church. So there's a number, and the San Antonio was the 3 buildings there. So the church and the social hall, the priest's house, and the sister's house at the back. So, the same number is going to be A, B, C, D.
Mayor Apatang says 4 people handle the numbering system every day, with hopes to finish all the villages by the end of the year. It's a project that has been in the works for quite some time.
This has been in the book since over 23 years ago. The law was passed. Mayors should be responsible, Public Works and DPS. Public Land should get together and come up with a program, a street numbering system that it never happened. So we finally got around to it. We're making it possible.
For more news, visit saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Thank you, Ashley. And still to come, your birthday shout-outs. Don't go away.
Our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets are just the right amount of spicy. A small to medium Sprite kind of spicy. Let's get a McFlurry after this kind of spicy. But if you get the mighty hot sauce, it's a napkins are for foreheads now kind of spicy. This came from McDonald's kind of spicy. Because our Spicy Chicken McNuggets, breaded in tempura and made with cayenne, are just the right amount of spicy. Unless you remember what I said about the sauce. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It's the middle of the week. It is the 10th of February, and it is a happy birthday to some very special Guamanians, led off by Camry Sky Lujan. Happy birthday, my baby, from Nana Vicky and the family. They all say, each and every one of them, we love you so very much. Happy birthday to Asher. The whole family loves you. Say mommy, daddy, ate, and kuya. Happy birthday to you, Asher. Menen Chargalov. Happy birthday, Nana. We love you. And we hope you have a great day from all of your friends here at KUAM. Wishing our mom and grandma, otherwise known as Casper Duenas, a very blessed happy birthday. Your endless love and care for us, you have gone above and beyond. We wish you good health, happiness, and many more years with you. We love you, said Juliet, Arthur, Renee, Jenna, and your 5 grandchildren. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, happy birthday to Jeremy Ike Flores. Happy birthday, Jeremy. We hope you have a great day, and we love you, Bula. So to all of today's birthday celebrants, this is your day. Make it the best, be safe, be healthy, and we wish you a fantastic birthday.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. That's going to do it for us here on Prime Time. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and be safe.